always wanted a crossover of Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, Easter Bunny, and Jack Frost in one movie? Well, you guys are in for a treat. Rise of the Guardians, and no, it's not a prequel to that one Zack Snyder film. Based on a book series by William Joyce, this is one of my favorite DreamWorks animated films, even though I don't watch it often. In 2005, William Joyce and Real FX launched a joint venture, Ainsworth Amusement, to produce CG animated feature films, one of which was set to be The Guardians of the Childhood based on Joyce's idea. The film wasn't realized, but they did create a short animated film, The Man in the Moon, directed by Joyce, which introduced the Guardians idea and served as an inspiration for the film. Early in 2008, Joyce sold the film rights to DreamWorks Animation after the studio assured him it would respect his vision for the characters and that he would be involved with the creative process. Originally, the film was set to be released on November 2nd, 2012, but DreamWorks pushed the film to November 21st, 2012 to avoid competition with Pixar's upcoming film at the time, Monsters University. While it received positive reviews from critics and audiences, it became a box office disappointment despite making over $300 million at the box office. As a kid, this was the most epic movie I've ever saw, seeing Santa Claus, Tooth Fairy, and the Easter Bunny in one movie. It wasn't a dream come true for me, but it's still pretty cool. Now, is this the perfect movie to watch during the holidays? I mean, I guess, but to be honest, it kind of includes a little bit of everything, like Christmas and Easter. It may not be a Christmas movie, but I'm still gonna talk about it anyway. The movie follows the story of the Guardians, Santa Claus, the Tooth Fairy, the Easter Bunny, and the Sandman, who enlists Jack Frost to stop the evil Pitch Black from engulfing the world in darkness in a fight of dreams. Right off the bat, the concept of a crossover is pretty cool, and we definitely need to see more of this. It may not be for everyone because, let's just be real here, but it is worth having it around. And apparently the movie takes place 300 years after the books, and I guess it's fine for the movie to serve as a continuation, but if that's the case, why is the title like this? But there are some interesting points here, like how the Guardians had a life before, well, becoming Guardians. Which, now that I think about it, has made me concerned for Pitch Black, because he did had a family before, which I gotta ask, how did he become like this? Speaking of Pitch Black, the way that he uses darkness honestly reminds me of that one video game franchise, but overall he's a cool villain. Not only that, but the movie also has interesting takes on the Guardians like Jack Frost and Sandman. And I know it's the Tooth Fairy, so she has to collect teeth for a living, but the fact that she has a whole collection of children's teeth for so many years honestly creeps me out. Someone get me away from her. But anyway, the plot overall is unique, and hopefully we get to see new characters in the sequel. Let's just hope there is a sequel in the future. At this point, I'm kinda glad that they didn't use the generic DreamWorks formula when it came to character designs. They more so used a style similar to How to Train Your Dragon. Speaking of character designs, the Guardians obviously looks way different from what they looked like before in the books, and in some cases, some of them actually looks pretty good. Santa Claus went from a skinny Russian to a bulky Russian, tattoos and all. I wish I could say that there's something trippy about the Tooth Fairy, but honestly, I can't really point it out. And to be honest with you, the book version of the Tooth Fairy looks way better, so why on earth do they have to change it? The Sandman looks slightly different, and the Easter Bunny had the biggest upgrade of all, went from small to big, I think. And that's just the character designs. The environments are pretty much alright. Santa's workshop, Bunny's warren, Tooth's palace, I'm not even sure if that's a palace. And the movie contained a lot of special effects, particularly the volumetric particles for Sandman and Pitch. And oh boy, it's pretty overwhelming. And I love it. Out of all the DreamWorks films I've talked about this year, this is interesting. It's not a masterpiece like The Prince of Egypt or The Wild Robot, it's just interesting. And considering that the movie has an epic concept, I'm surprised we don't see more of this. And I've said this before in the Secret of Nim episode, but it would have been so cool if this movie was expanded into a sequel or a TV series, or heck, even new books. Just something, because this movie honestly has a lot more potential than Kung Fu Panda and How to Train Your Dragon. But hey, it is what it is and we just have to accept it. I guess the only problem I have with this movie is the fact that they didn't call this movie Guardians of the Childhood. Like, come on, what a missed opportunity! Out of all the titles you could have come up with, this was the best you can do? Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if I confused this movie with that one Owl movie, which hopefully that'll never happen. There's just one too many Guardians in my life. But for now, I have to talk about Don Bluth again, and hopefully this time it's about forced marriages.